What gorgeous the pair of you are. Okay, here we go. You excited?
Very excited.
I'm excited too. The podcast is getting better and better with every single episode because I'm like getting slightly better with. Is that crooked? Is that crooked? Does that look crooked?
Do you want me to have a look?
It kind of looks crooked, doesn't it?
It looks a little bit that way.
Yeah,
it is.
It's a bit wonky, isn't it?
How do you
Oh, do you know what? I don't know what's going on with it. I'm keeping all of this in, by the way.
Just needs tilting down on the right, doesn't it?
Don't think I can.
Might be just where the floor's a little bit uneven. It's all right.
It's fine. Okay, here we go. Let's try again. Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Luton Deadpool podcast with me, Luton Deadpool, and my two guests today. We have Miss Ponsonby and we have Miss Dolan. Did I say your name right?
You did. Yeah.
Yes.
It's a mouthful.
I've been practicing. Yeah. Oh,
you did well. I normally have to spell it.
So how are you guys?
Very well, thank
Good,
you.
yeah?
Yeah, very well, thank
Good
you. Yeah.
Stuff. Good stuff. Last time I saw you both was at Challney Girls when you had the Race for
Life, that's right.
You had the Race for Life on, and it was amazing. It was truly amazing. I cannot go on anymore about how much effort you guys put into stuff like that. It's just beautiful to see. I'm so grateful that we have people like you in the town. I was literally talking to my daughter the other day. She knows about Challney Girls, and she's going for a visit to Challney Boys.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, which is cool and everything, but she was gutted that she's not coming to Challney Girls for
a
visit. I know, because from her generation of people, like they all know that Challney Girls is a really special school.
Yeah, it is.
Tell me a bit about Challney Girls.
Well, you've been there longer than I have, Nick. I've been there, I think this is my 16th year. And it just feels like a family. Our girls are amazing, our staff are amazing, the community is amazing. And if I'm honest with you, my whole intention when I first started there was maybe to stay for 5 years, and 16 years down the line. And I just see it as home. I feel really lucky to teach in such an amazing school, personally.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, and like that, I'm kind of part of the Challney furniture at this stage because I've been there 21 years this year.
Really?
Yeah, I started my career there as just a PE teacher, and then kind of worked my way up, and currently deputy head. And I've often had people say, do you not want to move school? Aren't you bored of teaching here? And exactly like Lisa said, it's why would I move on when I really enjoy the students and the impact you can have on them? And I think that's why I've never ever really looked to move on.
I think it's so important, the work that you guys do, because the area of Challney is very deprived.
Yeah.
It's very, very deprived. I mean, it's one of the worst areas in Luton for poverty and for people living in hard times. It's a real sad thing that we have places like that exist in 2022,
Yeah, and it's exactly that, because demographically our school is one of the most deprived in Luton. And actually when you then look at what the girls are doing and the families are doing to support social action, it's all I ever say is it's mind-blowing and it's humbling, because even if they don't have a lot to give themselves, they'll always find it to give to others. And I think that's what makes our school, students and community so special, because they'll dig deep.
Yeah.
Even if they don't have what they would want to buy themselves, they'll find it for others.
Don't you find that when it comes to really special people, that they tend to come from like quite deprived backgrounds?
Yeah, they do.
Yeah.
It seems to be the case that really special people only are created through pain. Almost, do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's really sad, but my gosh, I'm so glad that we have these girls that are coming through, because they're going to be leaders when they come out of school. Like what you guys are preparing them for is just amazing. Like the one thing that I think the world lacks is female leaders, like really big female leaders. In Luton we're blessed because we've got loads.
Yeah,
we've got absolutely loads. So we are really, really lucky because I'm a guy, obviously, and I totally accept my shortcomings as a man. Right? Most men don't say that. Right? Most men pretend to be the big I am all the time, right? And I completely understand that I'm a moron. I really am. You wouldn't believe. Like, I put my glasses down and then they vanish. Just poof, and they're gone. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's actually crazy. And I'll say to my wife, where do you know where my glasses are? And she's like, have you actually looked? Well, yeah, I'm pretty sure I've looked. Yeah, I'll go look again. Don't worry, you don't have to look again. I'll go look again. I have a little look around. Can't find them anywhere. And then she just goes, there you go, there they are. Like, I don't know what it is with women, but they are that step ahead. I was reading this book recently called The Female Brain.
Yeah.
I can't remember who the author is. Sorry to whoever the author is. But it was such an amazing book. It talks about how very different we are in the way that our brains work and how much quicker girls progress in early life compared to boys. Like, I think it's like girls' brains grow 20% quicker than boys' brains, which is crazy. And it explains a lot. Like, there's just boys rolling around in mud and girls are doing math. Do you know what I mean? It's kind of the case. And like, going back to like your school, this is what makes like an all-girls school really special, because you've got all of these people who, you know, you've obviously got different levels of ability, but at the same time, you've got like a whole bunch of girls all together, which must just be such a joy.
Yeah,
I bet they learn a lot differently to how, like, say, Challney boys might do. It's a bit of a madhouse there.
can be a bit of a madhouse everywhere, but I think just going back to what you said about the importance of sort of female leaders and things, our school vision is actually to develop influential women of the future.
Okay.
And I think that sits really nicely with what we actually do on a daily basis there, because we want every single one of our girls to feel empowered that as a woman they can be and do whatever they want to be.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's why we sort of have this real drive on being an influential woman and giving them the skills and the attributes that they need to progress with that. And what's always really fascinating is we set up an alumni at Challney Girls.
Okay.
I set it up about 6-7 years ago, I think it was. We've got about 1,500 ex-Challney students signed up to that. And what's really lovely is you hear all their success stories through that forum.
Oh, that must be
so they come back and they'll say things like, and you know, even some students that weren't particularly the best, you know, behaved or academic at Challney Girls, and they've gone on and they've made something of themselves. And that's why that school is special, because you give them and you empower them to say, I can be who I want to be. And actually, some of our girls go against the grain because, you know, sometimes there's a sort of the aspirations are around being doctors, lawyers, and so on. And actually, loads of our students are, and it's fantastic. But actually, we also get others that go and say, well, actually, no, I want to be a PE teacher, or I want to do sport. So we've had some really lovely success stories around that.
I think part of it is as well, though, is that a lot of our girls that do come back, we use them kind of as role models, because like Nick's just said, they didn't always get it right at school, but they still made it and they became somebody and they fought against the norms. And that's reality, because to get somewhere in life, you're not going to have the perfect journey. Our girls understand that you'll have your ups and your downs, but it's how you respond to those ups and downs and those barriers you face. So I think when we invite a lot of our girls back, sometimes to do group work with girls, particularly if some of the girls might be struggling and they're facing their own kind of barriers to kind of get where they want to, they really respond to that. So I think you're right, Nick. We do everything we can to try to give them opportunities as well, to just have the confidence to be what you want to be, to become what you want to be, and this idea that they can make it as long as they kind of work hard and they're resilient, they don't give up. And it's just lovely to see our girls doing that, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. And they do it every day. And every time we have a Year 11 group that leave, we see them the November of the following new academic year, if you like. And they all come back saying, we really miss it here.
Oh, that's so sweet.
You know, and it can be quite unusual, because some people are quite happy to move on.
Honestly, I never felt like that about school.
Yeah.
I really didn't. So I went to Patridge, right?
Yeah, that's right.
I like to tell people certain things about myself, but I don't like to go too far because obviously, you know, I need to be anonymous.
Yeah, of course.
But I like to tell people what school I went to because I think it's really important that they know that I'm a Luton boy, right?
Yeah.
And like for me, my time at Puttridge wasn't great. I'm not going to lie.
Yeah.
During that time, Puttridge was undergoing kind of a change, and I was unfortunately there whilst the change was going on, and it wasn't really a positive change. Like the teachers were coming in and out, like you know, there wasn't much focus towards underperforming kids as well. Like I was an overperforming kid until about year 9, and then I started to fall out because I had like personal problems at home, and none of the teachers helped out.
Right.
Like that, you know, they knew my problems, and it just.
Yeah.
No disrespect to any Puttridge schools, I'm sure that they've done great jobs with other people, but you know, I was kind of let down by the system. And when I left school, I could not wait to get out of it because I was bored in school. It wasn't an entertaining place, and I think that school should be an entertaining place.
Yeah.
For me, I don't know about you guys, but I feel like as I've gotten older, I see the value of knowledge and learning. And it's actually really fun to learn stuff.
Yeah.
It really is. And I know that I'm going to have some kids on here going, oh my God, Deadpool's lame. Right? But the truth is that every time you learn something, you empower yourself.
Yeah.
Right? And you end up creating a bigger platform for yourself to launch into something new. And I think it's so important for young kids to be getting not just good education, like that's obviously key, to be getting good teachers teaching and stuff, but it has to be fun as well. And what I see with your school is like the students seem to be having the best time. You know, I've got a few that follow me on TikTok and stuff like that. They message me and
well, they were delighted to have you there. So
they were
God,
excited.
They were very excited.
It was so fun. It was just amazing. Like I to get an entire school into something that's charity driven is really hard. It is really, really hard to make everybody want to take part and to then understand people can't necessarily do as much physically as somebody else.
That's right.
To be able to manage that at scale, like, I mean, how many year groups did you have running?
We had all of them, all 5 year groups do it. So 1,050 kids altogether, plus all the staff that come out.
We say it's our favourite day of the year. Every year we look forward to that event, don't we? Because everybody just gets involved.
I hope that you would invite me back every year.
Oh, 100%. Yeah, please come back.
We'll have you there every single
year.
It was like one of my favourite things that I've done so far this year.
It really is.
But yeah, like just going back to the kids at your school, they all seem just so kind and genuine. Like, I mean, you know, I didn't get to like really chat to them that much, but just seeing like when you set up for the photos, you was taking the photos, wasn't you? Yes. Master photographer.
I don't know about that.
It was amazing. It was amazing. I loved it. I need some tips.
I have a loud voice. You teach your voice.
Yeah, you've got people organised though.
Literally. Yeah, it's an incredible day. And I think, you know, social action, and my whole time at Challney, and Lisa will be similar in the 16 years, there's always been social action of some type every single year.
Yeah.
But what we've done recently is we've just upped the ante with it.
Different scale.
So it's on a different scale completely. Because, for instance, when I started teaching at Challney Girls, we used to have like a charity week every sort of January, February time. And I remember it really well. And it's, you know, charity is not about how much money you raise. It's about what goes on behind it and the sort of attributes, the skills, qualities that you learn from doing that. But just to give you an example, you know, I remember sort of the first 3-4 years of my time there, we would sort of raise anything between £1,000 and £2,000 in a week.
Yeah.
And now when you look at the scale that we're on, we're raising 10 grand in a day.
Oh.
So it's just, it's just the promotion of
that is amazing.
Of behind the scenes. So it's, you know, of course we want to make lots of money.
Yeah.
But behind that, it's getting every single girl to understand what part she's played.
Yeah.
And actually, have I gone out and really busted up to get sponsorship? Have I raised awareness of what we're doing? And it's all of those things that encompass what we do.
I think it's also the girls understand like you say, it's not about how much you raise, it's where that money goes to.
Yeah.
So every time that we do Race for Life each year, the Luton and Dunstable Hospital always come back in the year after as part of our assemblies.
Yeah.
And they will tell us what's happened with that
that's
money.
So good.
And we know that whatever they've done, everybody, there'll be somebody in that hall with all the girls and the staff that would have benefited from that in one way, shape or form, whether it's through mammograms, whether it's through treatment, whether it's through the development of treatment. And I think that's really good, the fact that we work in partnership with the charities as well, and they'll always come back and say, this is where your money's gone to as well. Completely,
Yeah, that's brilliant.
And that's kind of where our relationship came from Denise Coates, who's a former breast cancer.
Big up Denise.
Absolutely. Hi, Denise.
Denise, literally, I think she'd heard about one of the Race for Lives we did, and all of a sudden I got a phone call saying, there's a lady here in reception wants to talk to you about charity. And I'm sort of, flapping about going, oh my God, I'm teaching and doing all of that. But I made the time to go and see her. And it was the best 5 minutes of my life that I gave someone, because ever since she's come in, she's been supporting us. She supported the L&D hospital. She's obviously a breast cancer survivor herself, so it's really close to her. She comes in for our assemblies, and every year she just literally, she's tearful, she's humbled. But actually, she's also inspired our girls, because it's living proof that the money that we've raised have helped people like her.
There's
a person here that's done it.
And then how great she is and what she's doing with her life. And
and the promotion of it. And actually raising awareness of cancer among males and females is something she does. But it's just, I just think the school's a special place when it comes to it.
It definitely is.
It really is. It really is. I mean, like, I obviously, I'm going to just keep going on and on about how great you guys are and how great your school is. I mean, please don't get bored of me saying that. But,
it's really sweet.
It's so true. Like, I mean, I must have high-fived, like, I don't even know how many people. I'm not joking. When I got home, I took my glove off. My hand was red raw.
They were super excited, and Year 11s weren't very pleased with us because you weren't there for their slot. They were the first race, but they'd seen you coming into the school, and apparently they were all looking out the window going, Deadpool's here, Deadpool's here. So I did say that next year we'll try and get you in.
I'll be there
for as much as we can.
Brilliant.
100%,
and then that way every single student gets to see you, because they were genuinely
I won't lie, it is like hard to be in the suit for more than probably 3 hours.
I can imagine.
It starts to get a bit hard because inside here it's really rough.
Oh God.
So it just rubs on my face.
It's a long
I'm constantly readjusting it as well, because sometimes I'm walking and then it moves a little bit and I can't see. So I have to move it back. And every time I do it, I rub some of my skin off my face.
But you also said you were wearing that even in the extreme heat that we had in the summer, that you were still wearing the suit. I mean, how you did that, to be honest with me.
Big up on the FC actually, because this is what that was for. I was out on, do you remember when it was like 38, 40?
Yes.
Yeah, so I was out on that day, and I was there for how many hours? It was about 4 hours.
Wow.
So no water, just in the mask the whole time, walking around saying hello to people, like trying to dance and stuff with kids, and like be really fun. And you know what? It's like you'll know this as a teacher. You have to be a certain way with children, right?
Yeah.
You have to be really positive. You have to be really energetic. Like you can't have a bad day with a kid, really. Do you know what I mean? It's not fair to them. They don't understand that you might be struggling and don't really want to do the thing that you're doing, but you have to be there, because if you don't, then they lose out. And when I was there was one point when I kind of felt like I was going to pass out.
I'm not surprised.
It was quite bad. I was walking along and I just sort of put my hand on the fence. I was like, oh my God, I'm actually going to pass out in front of all these people. So I'd seen spots and everything.
Oh God,
and then this kid come up to me and he pulled on my swords and he was like, are you the real Deadpool? I was like, yeah. He's like, can you do a backflip? I was like, right now. Please, just I'll stand here and wave and dance with you, but please don't make me do a backflip. But that's what it's all about, trying to make kids happy is so core to what I do. I mean, I'll just tell you a little bit about kind of why is so important to me. I mean, when I was a kid, I come from like my mum was great, right? But I had a really abusive upbringing from my stepdad, right? I won't go on about like the stuff, the details, but it was really abusive. It was horrible existence being around him. And as I was getting older, I started to realise like how much of my childhood I really missed out on. And like for me, I feel like I needed to see like someone like this. Do you know what I mean? To make me feel special and it was like really important to me to have that, and I didn't have that whilst growing up. So I always think about that when I'm out and about. I'm like, that kid might be having a hard time, and you know, I wish I could save every child. Right? I'm not going to be able to.
No.
I'm not going to be able to. But what I can do is give them something to look at and anchor themselves to. Like, I can be something more. Like, I can do something crazy. I can be whatever I want to be. Like, you know, it's the craziest thing. When I was a kid, I desperately wanted to be a superhero, and here I am.
Here you are. Yeah.
Here I am. It's
living the dream.
It's happened. So, you know, all the kids out there, I want you all to know that you can literally do whatever the hell you want to do. Like, you don't have to be restrained or restricted. And yeah, that's like kind of the big part of like why I'm doing this for the kids. I'm sure that you guys probably have similar reasons for why you're involved in teaching.
Absolutely, yeah.
Tell me like what got you into teaching. First you, then you. So.
I think sort of when I was at school, I'll be honest, I wasn't the most academic. I had to work really hard to do well. So I wasn't naturally talented and things, unlike my sister who was just able to go in, do an exam, didn't have to worry about things. So I had to work really hard. And I guess at the time I had some teachers that were, I guess, what I call my champion teachers, because we've all got one of them. And I also had a number of teachers that had no belief at all in what I could do and where I'd go. And quite often they'd say things to you like, "Oh, if you're not going to work, if you're not going to do your work well, you're going to end up working in a factory." And you know, there was kind of comments in them days that stuck with you as a kid, sort of going, "Am I really that useless? Am I really?" So I guess when I was about probably 10, 11, I decided I want to do teaching. And obviously,
wow, that early on?
Yeah, it was very early on.
Wow.
And then obviously going into secondary school, my PE teachers had a massive influence on what I did and provided me with the motivation, the courage to sort of go and get it. And I guess I did it because teachers that I had, some of them left their legacy with me and their impact on me and sort of inspired me to do what I do. Now I went round a twist and turny way to get there. So like we encourage all girls at Challney, if you want something bad enough, you might take a different pathway to get there. But you'll always get there if you want it bad enough. And that's why I sort of did it. And I did it because I just love making a difference to kids. Their lives, self-belief, confidence, all the things that we can talk about skills and attributes wise. But for me, it was sort of my great pleasure in going back to my old school and walking in to the staff room as doing supply at the time.
Yeah.
And one of those teachers that kind of didn't really believe much in me before came up and said, "Oh, are you here on work experience?" So I said, "No, I'm actually here because I'm teaching like you do." And it was very interesting because her face nearly hit the floor because she'd always sort of said, you know, she never said to me, "You're never going to make it," but she was quite negative about my ability and what I could do. And that stuck with me for some time. But then I sort of thought, you know what, I'm going to prove you wrong. And that's what I went out and did. And that's why I teach today.
You are smashing it. So,
thank you.
Well done. Like, yeah, I'm so sorry you had to deal with a teacher like that. Because I had teachers like that as well.
Absolutely, like, and they do exist. Not so much nowadays, but
I had one teacher before tell me that all I'd ever be good at was sweeping the floor.
Oh wow!
And that stuck a bit.
And I was in year 5.
Oh my god!
Yeah. So how old are you in year 5? What, like
9, 10?
Yeah.
9, 10.
Yeah.
To say that to a child, can you believe that?
That's shocking.
I know. I can't believe it. Like
But things like that stick because that's what crushes self-belief and confidence.
Because when you're a kid, you look at adults and you think they know everything. So when an adult tells you you're useless, you believe it.
You believe it.
Yeah, you believe it straight away. You're not even going to question it. They say, you know, you're rubbish at this, you're stupid. That's what you then go out into the world thinking, and then you start limiting yourself in your ability because, you know, nobody's stupid. Like, not one person on the planet Earth is stupid. Like, I always think about, I think it was Einstein that said, a goldfish in a bowl is in its natural habitat, right? And you wouldn't call the goldfish stupid in the bowl, right? If you ask the goldfish to climb a tree, you're going to call it stupid at that point. That's kind of like how people sort of treat people.
Yeah.
They don't understand that sometimes you're not suited to a certain thing. And there's nothing wrong with that at all. Like, you know, but then you can always be taught. I mean, the goldfish can never be taught to climb a tree. It's kind of a bad analogy in a way.
No, but the analogy's there, isn't it? It's that. But.
So how did you get into teaching?
So I'd always really wanted to be a teacher. I loved sport. Sport was my life. I've played sport since I was really young. And then I was going through senior school, a bit like Nick had said, you have teachers that influence you. And it was the PE department. They were absolutely fantastic. Really gave me the confidence to believe in myself. And then after school, when I went on to college, I kind of lost myself. I lost my way for a period of time. Wasn't always making the right decisions. Found it really, really difficult. Completed my studies. And at the end of it, I decided I'd had enough of studying. I'd just had enough of everything. So I decided I wasn't going to go into teaching. And I got a job. I was training to be an engineer.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I had quite a passion in kind of just how things work. I'd considered going into the services, considered going into the fire brigade.
Really?
Was desperate to be a firewoman. I think it was something to do with London's burning when I was a kid. I loved that programme. So yeah, I was training to be an engineer. Had a really good job. I was kind of my own boss, did my own hours. I was earning pretty good money, but I hated it. I missed company, I missed being around other people, and then I realised I'm a real kind of people person. And I've played hockey for Luton Town, had played hockey for absolutely years. So I was always around people. I helped coach the younger teams. And then after a year, I thought, no, this really isn't me. And I think I'd found my way through things I was going through at that moment in time. I thought, I'm going to go back. So I decided to give my job up. And I went back to studies, went to university, and I trained to be a PE teacher. And here I am now, absolutely loving life. And like Nick has said, it's the difference that you can make to the lives of people. And I think in teaching, you do make a difference to lots of people's lives. But I think the thing that stays with me are those more complex cases.
Yeah.
So where you can sometimes see yourself in the children that you're teaching. So when they're going through things, you can empathise, because at moments in time, I was that child. I was that child that was having those difficulties. I was that child that didn't believe in herself and thought it'd be easier just to give up rather than keep working. So we always remember our girls and the people you teach, but I think the people you remember more so, and it might only be kind of a handful of people, are those that could have lost their way and could have found themselves going down a completely different journey, but they didn't. And they had a bumpy ride, and they're the girls that keep in contact with us now. Like, we will still get emails, and there's one student at the moment who came in. She was our guest speaker at our awards evening going back in October, November time.
I think
Hina Shaffi.
Hina, oh my gosh.
Yeah.
So Hina's, so again, hi Hina, if you're watching.
She's coming on the podcast for New Year's Eve, I believe. I think we're doing New Year's Eve podcast.
Yeah.
It's so much fun.
So
she is honestly the best woman that I've seen Luton produce.
She's brilliant. She's such an advocate, and she will come back into our school and she'll share her story. She motivates the girls. Like I say, she was our guest speaker this year, but it's lovely because we never forget her, but she never forgets us, and she'll openly say it was because of her experience and having people believing her. She is where she is now. But it works two ways as well. We're really appreciative of the fact that we've got to teach people like Hina, and we're still in contact, and we're following her now. And that's a prime example of kind of our vision, developing influential women in the future, because that's exactly what Hina is. So it's just making a difference to the lives of people.
I can't remember when I first met Hina, actually. When was it?
Could you see her? Because she is quite short.
Yeah. I can't remember where I first met her. I'm so sorry, Hina.
Well, she gets
because I text her all the time.
communities,
We
doesn't
chat all the time. Like she's just amazing. I first found out about her though because before I was Deadpool, I just like my Twitter was I was following anybody and everybody who I thought was influential. I actually followed both of you on my private account.
Oh, okay.
Because I used to see you guys popping up
Yeah.
all the time. Like on was it on Twitter? Yeah, I think so.
Would have been Twitter,
Yeah, you guys are both.
Yeah.
Both yeah. But yeah, I used to follow Hina as well, and just the stuff that she would say in her tweets, and like what she does, and how much she's achieved.
Yeah.
And she's only 25.
Yeah. That's what I mean. When I talked about earlier about kids in our school going against the grain, that's who I was talking about.
Yeah.
Because she was so sport crazy, and actually really from a cultural perspective wanted to say, I want to do sport and I'm going to go and do it.
Yeah.
And she did exactly that. So, you know, we're mega proud. I was her head for a year and stuff. And I remember making phone calls home to her parents begging if she could come and play football.
Oh, yeah.
You know, for a fixture and stuff after school. But she's a massive success story, and we're both
really
massively proud of what she's achieved. And every time you hear from her, she's got a new addition to what she's up to and things. And it's the likes of Hina that make you want to teach like that.
Yeah, I mean, like for me, I know we're like gushing over Hina right now, and she's probably loving this.
She will.
She's probably loving this. I hope you are. But I think she's so special, and I really would believe in her if she was going to be a leader in Luton. Like, say, if she wanted to get into being a councillor, or if she wanted to go and run as an MP, no disrespect to Sarah Owen or Rachel Hopkins, but I think she would be absolutely phenomenal. She is a force of nature.
Yeah, definitely.
And I totally believe that she got that from the school that she came from. I mean, there's obviously a natural ability there, right? But what you guys do in that school is you take that natural ability, you elevate it to such a high level where the person can really see like what they're capable of. And I can't thank you enough for what you're doing. I know, you know, it might sound a bit silly, I'm thanking you for just being a teacher, but you know, it's a really important job that you guys do. And not just as being teachers, but as being like life coaches and as being kind of like agony aunts probably sometimes. Do you know what I mean?
And, you get all of that, and you kind of, you know, there's some other students we can talk about as well who had really tough times and they've made it. And one in particular that I've got in my head is currently applying to be a PE teacher.
Oh, really?
Through Chiltern Learning Trust and through the training group and stuff. So she's been in recently to have a chat about what she needs to do and things. But I think it's just breaking the barriers is what we like to do best there. And I think there's more. There's another young lady that's now living in Birmingham, completely on the wrong path at school, completely, you know, if I'm being really honest, could have not made it to year 11, but she did. And she's now one of the only females working in a very male-dominated career.
Yeah.
Working with adults who've got real severe mental health issues and so on. And, you know, she comes back and emails now and again, and you just sort of think that is another absolute gem of a success story, because, and there's hundreds of them. It's not, you know, we're just sort of thinking about the personal. There's hundreds of them.
Like, that must just make you feel so good to know that. To when you really, like, you must take stock every now and then when you just kind of sit back and think to yourself, wow, what have I done?
You do. It's not necessarily sometimes what you've done personally. It's actually, you look at it on a school level.
Definitely.
But also on a personal level. And I think what I've learned over the years, and Lisa, I'm sure you'll feel the same, is you don't always realise the impact you've had on young people in the town, sometimes until they come back and tell you.
Yeah.
And it's not because we need them to come back and tell us.
Yeah.
But when they come back and go, it makes you reflect and go, okay, I know I did X, Y, and Z for that student, but actually you don't realise you did way, way more than that you didn't recognise yourself, but the students recognise, the girls have recognised, and they come back and tell you, and you go, okay, yeah, that's, you know. So it's really hard to take personal
girls,
praise for anything, but
yeah.
but they're
we
really
do.
good at.
But you should though, because it's like what you are the force and the change. Like I mean, I remember one teacher in particular really stands out for me when I was a kid. He was my history teacher, and he made me love history. Like I'm such a history buff, and it's because of him. I did not care for history at all, and he came into my life, and I cannot get enough of it. And I like all of my time is spent researching historical facts, or watching documentaries or reading books. Like I wasn't a book person at all in school, and then I met my history teacher, and he used to. He was so funny. He would like be teaching about a certain subject, like Roman history or whatever, and he would bring in shields and swords, and he would be charging around the place and like pretending to fight, and it was just like it was so energizing. You felt the love that he had for the subject, and he really wanted everybody to learn it. It wasn't like, oh, I've got another day. It's like he thoroughly enjoyed.
He's passionate about it.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's so important, like to have that in you as a teacher. And I can totally tell that you guys have that. And you know, I know that you probably don't want to take too much praise for yourselves, but you really should, because you've always got to remember this, right? That the greater you are, the more people you inspire. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, no, that's really
So, and when you're too humble, it doesn't show your greatness. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like you don't want to be arrogant, obviously, but at the same time, like, man, you should be shouting from the rooftops how great you are. This is why you're on the show. This is why you're here. Like with me, like I'm here. This is your house. You know, like, this is why you're here with me now, because I love people who are inspiring. I love people who are really interesting, and I think people who are making a positive change in Luton need to be highlighted, because without seeing you two or like any of the other teachers at the school, like how does anybody dream? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, it's really true.
Because like when I was a kid, I needed to see somebody who kind of looked like me, or like maybe thought like me or whatever, to make me believe that I could be something.
Yeah.
And it's like one of the reasons why, you know, I tell people about my race, right? I'm mixed race. I don't tell people what race I am. I just say I'm mixed race, because I am a mixed race, right? But I leave it open-ended, because that means that anyone could believe to be me. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, any little kid, like when I was a kid, I was told by, this is another teacher, this was horrible. I was at a school disco, and I came as Superman, right? And I'd been told previously I wasn't allowed to be Superman because I didn't have blue eyes, I only have white skin.
Oh, God.
Yeah, for real. And I got to, so anyway, I managed to get this Superman costume, and I went to this school like disco thing. I can't remember what it was. I was quite young, and a teacher came up to me and said that there's no such thing as a brown Superman.
Oh my God.
I know, how bad is that?
That is awful.
How bad is that? And because of that, that made me think like I couldn't be great or anything. Like, because as a child, like, your heroes are superheroes most of the time.
Absolutely,
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's so important. It's like I talk to, like, I've got a lot of friends in the Caribbean community, and when I talk to them about superheroes, they love Black Panther, right? And the reason why they love Black Panther is it's not just because the guy's black. It's because they see themselves in it.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And sometimes you need to. I know it sounds like race shouldn't be important, or like, you know, what you look like or how you think. It shouldn't be that important, but it kind of is to children, because when we're young, it's like you're looking to build your life around what you think is possible, and if you can't see yourself in anything, then your world is limited, and you really can't. There's no room to grow. Do you know what I mean? So
I think it's
I just went on a bit of time.
no, but the race side of it is, I mean, it's still there, isn't it?
Yeah. It is still there. It is unfortunately still there. I see it in football a lot. I was actually last season. I went to a Luton game, and I heard a Luton fan making monkey noises at a black player.
That's shocking.
This day and age,
That's shocking.
This day and age, it is really.
Luckily, the crowd turned on it.
Good.
Which, you know, I'm not imploring people to like.
No, but just to show it's not acceptable.
I'm not
It's not
imploring
acceptable,
people for violence or anything like that. But like, that guy needed to be called out because it was really bad. Like, I can't believe that people still think like that in this day and age.
That is really bad.
You know what I mean? Like, because what is the difference really between people other than like culturally we may have differences? I may like different music to you guys, or we may like the same music. Who knows? But you know, we're going to have slight differences. But then at the heart of every person, everybody wants the same thing, right? I want to have a nice life. I don't want to have financial problems. I want to grow old with somebody that I love. You know, just basic things that like everybody feels the same way. If you cut me, I bleed. You know what I mean? Like we're all the same in that kind of respect, and it's a shame that people still treat each other so poorly.
That's schools. That's why education is so important, isn't it?
Yeah.
Because it is about education, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. Because ultimately, if say, you know, people didn't teach about stuff like that, you would have historical racism continuing, because it is like, it's not genetic, but you know, if you're living in a house with somebody that is heavily racist, you're going to pick up.
Of course,
And then when you grow up, you're going to have these views. Like I remember, there was this guy that I used to work with, and he didn't know I was mixed race because I'm quite light skinned, and the whole time he thought I was white the entire time. And one day he said something really racist. I was like, "Oh God, are you serious? Like, what the hell's wrong?" And he was like, "Why are you so offended?" Well, because I'm mixed race. I was like, "Really?" I was like, "Yeah." He was like, "But you're all right."
Oh,
yeah, I know. But then after that, he changed his worldview, because then he was like, "Oh my gosh, I was actually wrong." It was like when I was born, my nan, right, so white side of the family, my nan was like quite racist. She wasn't like, you know, she wasn't like actively doing anything, but she had like a really bad view of people. And then when I was born, she fell in love with me, and the whole world changed. And that's all it takes sometimes, is something like, you know, to have an interaction with somebody and you realise, actually, I've just been stereotyping people this entire time.
And I think as human beings, it's what we do, isn't it? Like, and what's been done, but there's a huge amount of work still needed to eradicate that. And whether it'll ever be completely eradicated, who knows? But I think it's sad that it takes something like that to happen for somebody to then change their opinion. Because, you know, the two examples you've just given, it's exactly that, isn't it?
No, it's not good. It happens. I think it comes down to like, it's really sad, but it's like an old recess in our brain, right? Like where when we was like living in tribes in the woods and stuff, and if a stranger came in, that was a threat. Do you know what I mean? That was a genuine threat. And I think that it's just, that process has been there for such a long time that we still experience it to this day. Like you know, I mean, look at me, for example. When I walk through town sometimes, I get like some really negative attention from people at times, mostly positive, but every now and then I've got a guy come up to me, kicked me. Yeah, kicked me. I swear to God, I was collecting outside Primark, because that's my spot. So I was like dancing, doing all the stuff. It was about, I don't know, about 10:30 in the morning. These three guys came out of the Bet 365. I think it's Bet 365, I can't remember. The one off is the Primark. And he came out absolutely steaming drunk at like 10:30
in the morning.
Yeah, do you know what I mean? This is a very rare case, by the way. This is not what Luton is like. I don't like talking about negative stuff really with Luton, because I think then it gets overinflated, because this is not the norm at all. But I saw him come out, and I turned around and I walked off, to go and say hello to this kid. And then I hear someone say, "Hey, Deadpool, my mate wants to fight you." So I turned around and he booted me square in my shin. And I was like, "What the hell are you doing?" And he went to do it again. And luckily, like, there's security and stuff from Prime, because I cannot be seen fighting.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
That definitely wouldn't go down well, would it?
I'm sure some people out there would love it.
Yeah, but no.
At the same time, I really can't be seen to do that, because I don't want kids to go, "Oh, Deadpool hits people, so I can hit people."
So I'm gonna, yeah.
So yeah, luckily, yeah, the Primark staff were there. Like, big up Primark security. Them guys have my back so much. They're amazing. They have no reason to come and help me.
No, of course.
Do you know what I mean? Their jurisdiction is Primark, but yet they come out and they help me so many times when I'm getting bad stuff from people. But yeah, there are bad people out there. There are bad people out there, but there's luckily more good people.
Very true.
Yeah, definitely.
People. And I think the bad people, we call them bad. I don't even think they're bad. Like that guy that kicked me in the shin, I don't think he's bad. I know he's done a bad thing, but I don't think he's bad. I think he's got a mental health problem. Do you know what I mean? To come up to somebody and kick them in the street, there must be something going on with you.
Yeah.
If you think that's acceptable to do, there's something going on and you need help. And he's probably been failed by somebody, by an organisation, or maybe he's not getting any help at all because he wasn't educated to knowing how important mental health is. You know, like I see a lot of homeless people when I'm out and about, and you know, most people think really badly of them. They think really, really badly of them. I've told this story before, but I'll tell it again. Oh, hello. Oh, he's so sweet. He's so sweet. Should we pick him up a little bit?
Yeah, that was my son, Connor, just popping in. He's just been on a switch and is a little bit fascinated by Deadpool being in his house today.
Amazing.
But yeah, he's a really good boy.
Such a cool kid.
He is a cool kid,
Really
and he loves superheroes. So if you can inspire him, then we're on to a winner, aren't we?
He does not need me.
No, he doesn't, but he'll still remember meeting you. So thank you for that. As well, loads of our kids at school.
Yeah, exactly.
So yeah. But yeah, he's a good boy.
He's a really good kid. I really like him. Hello again.
Hello.
He's got the switch. He wants my swords. Oh, bless him. He's so
swords.
Such a good kid. Yeah, so I was saying my little story, right? Which I have told before. I actually gave a speech before, and I told this story in my speech because it is one of the most important things that's ever happened to me, right? So I'm outside Primark in my usual spot, collecting stuff. I've been raising throughout the day. There's been this homeless guy sat outside the Bet's 365 again. I've like so much of my life involves them two shops. I don't gamble at all.
No.
You know, I'm just always outside that shop. So yeah, he was sat just outside of it, and he had his hat on the floor, and he's collecting. Yeah, and I always feel really bad when this is happening because I'm collecting for keys. He's collecting to eat. Do you know what I mean? I always feel really bad, so I try to move away so that he can kind of get some stuff. And so anyway, he sat there for the entire time that I was there. Or I was there from, I'm normally in town when I do my collecting from about 10:30 to about 2 or 3. So he was there for 4 hours, is that? Something like that. And so he's collecting this whole time, and then I pick up my bucket and I'm about to go, and he comes up to me and he goes, gets his hat and he tips the whole thing. I was like, no. I was like, please stop, man. And he was like, no. This is why I've been collecting it.
Oh, that's so generous.
I was like, you're joking. He had no shoes. His feet were black.
But he gave them money to keep.
His skin was really bad. It looked like he had been out in the cold, brutal weather for such a long time, and nobody's loved him. Nobody's cared for him. He's a dishevelled human being. It's really, really upsetting to see. I see him all the time. He's got the biggest heart of anyone I've ever known because he has nothing, but he gives everything.
Yeah.
And do you know what? If you walk past him, you may look down on him because that's what people tend to do when they see a homeless person. And he is brilliant. He's brilliant. I talk to him all the time. He's got such a beautiful mind, and he just wants to help. And, you know, when he done that day, like, oh man, there's been a few moments when I'm in the mosque and I cry because something really beautiful happens. I'm so fortunate to be able to see this. I really wish that he didn't have this hard time, but I'm so grateful for him for teaching me that lesson.
Yeah, that's powerful, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, if I can never, ever say I can't be bothered, I can never say that because look at what he did. You know, I can't imagine how hard his life is. And what it's like to wake up every day and like face the challenges that he faces. So yeah, I think it's really important to tell that story. I try to tell it as much as I can to people because I think it you know, we live in a world at the moment where people are very individualized and they think that everything is about them, right? And they don't understand that we are all just cogs in a machine. You know what I mean? Like whatever the human experience is, it's clearly like we're a conjoined effort to doing something, right? And if one of the cogs thinks they're too important, it stops working efficiently. You know what I mean? The less you think of yourself as an individual and as part of a group, the better you work. The more focus you have, the better drive. Like ever since I decided to become Deadpool, like it's like I've got this big responsibility now to people. Like I've been told by multiple people I can never stop this.
I don't think you can because it's been so successful and I imagine rewarding.
I mean, like, the only problem is I have to go to the gym a lot now because otherwise I just get so fat. I love pizza. I love burgers. I love to eat really, really bad food, right? And you know what? As I'm getting older, my belly is just getting bigger and bigger and bigger, and I don't know what to do with it.
You probably don't even have time to go to the gym, do you, with all the charity work you do?
I have to, like, you know, it's good though. I love going to the gym. It's super important. I mean, you know this as a teacher. Physical health is probably equally as important as mental health.
Absolutely.
You know, you've got to look after this, you've got to look after these as well.
When you've got the time to do it, yeah. Don't know where you get the time from.
No, do you know what? It's surprising because I get asked this a lot. How do I do all the things that I do?
Yeah.
Because I'm always somewhat like today. I'm in town for the Christmas lights switch on.
Oh, that's tonight.
Yeah, that's tonight. And then after that, oh my gosh, I'm so honoured for this. I'm a special guest to the ex-mayor Maria Lovell.
Oh yeah.
She's hosting a Ghana gala tonight. And I have a special ticket to come and sit with her all night long.
Oh wow, that's brilliant!
Oh my god,
that's lovely.
I know. I get so many cool offers like this now. Like, where people just go, "Do you want to come and do this?" I'm like,
it's fantastic. That's brilliant.
I like. Do you know what? As well, it's obviously the story about the homeless guy is part of the reason why I do things like in the extreme that I do.
Yeah.
But also, you know, you're only going to live once.
Yeah.
And it's so silly. You know, Jim Carrey movie, Yes Man.
Yes.
Yeah. So when I saw that movie, it like really resonated with me, and I was like, I'm just gonna say yes to everything.
And you literally do, don't you?
I literally say yes to everything.
You do.
I genuinely do. I just go. Someone says, "Oh, can you come help me?" Yep, sure. And then they say, "Oh, it's on this day, by the way." Oh yeah, great. Thanks for letting me know. And I tell the missus, she's like, "You've got like 4 things to do that day, you idiot."
Yeah, you do. You squeeze in a lot on the day. I'll tell you. It's admirable what you do.
It's nothing compared to being a teacher. Nothing.
I don't know.
Absolutely nothing. Like what you guys must go through in terms of preparation for doing stuff, then doing the thing, and then evaluating what you've done to make it better the next time. Like it's a never-ending journey from what I know of teachers. You know, I talk to a few teachers.
Yeah, teaching's hard. And I think like there's this kind of myth that surrounds it that we get all these holidays and we swan around doing nothing in holidays for 6 weeks in the summer and all of this. But actually that myth needs busting because, you know, we might work 37 hours a week in school, but then you have to add on all the hours you do beyond the school day, as in you come home, you sort yourself out, you sort family out, and then you're on to the work level again, ready for the next day or something that's coming up. So, you know, it's the most rewarding profession in the world, but it is tough and it is hard.
Yeah, I would say it's one of the
hardest. It is hard.
I have a happy board in my office. So if I'm having a tough day or you start thinking, oh, it's all cards or messages that some of the girls have written in the past when they've left. I've got a big, huge board and I update them every now and again. But if I'm having a bad day, I'll just go to the happy board and I'll just read some of the messages and it'll just put everything back into kind of perspective again. Yeah, and it just
you remember why you're doing it.
Think, right, this is why I'm doing it. So actually, it is worth it. So yeah, it's lovely.
No, that's such a good idea. Oh my gosh. Everybody get a happy board. That is a brilliant idea.
Definitely works. Definitely works.
Give me a picture of it, because I genuinely want to. Like, I'm so about like doing stuff like that kind of refocuses you.
Yeah.
And you know, like I just love that you call it a happy board as well. That's brilliant. Let me just check. I've just realised I'm supposed to check that this is still working. I haven't checked.
Okay.
Oh my gosh, how much of the will be? Stop. Yes, it's still working.
Oh, good.
How long are we on? Oh my gosh, we have recorded almost an hour. Wow.
There we go then.
Time flies when you're having fun.
It does indeed.
Okay, so we're going to wrap it up now. But let's just talk about quickly, because I want to highlight something that we spoke about before in the amount of money that you guys have raised at Challney over last year. Was it last year that we were talking about?
Well, £10,000 was this year.
That was, yes.
But over the last sort of, we've been doing the Race for Life for 6 years. And it's over that year, you know, over those years, we're in excess of about 60 grand.
Oh my gosh.
And around 80,000 if you add the Good Causes Week on top. So, you know, given deprived area and everything, it's just unbelievable. And every year we sort of challenge ourselves to get more and more. But obviously, like we said before, it's not about the amount, it's about what goes on in the action itself. But obviously we've been delighted to be able to support. The hospital side actually came from Denise. Because beforehand, the Race for Life is all through cancer research. And they have a schools Race for Life. When Denise came in that year, I said, well, we can do it for both. We can do cancer research half, L&D breast cancer unit half. And it started off with a lady called Bianca at the hospital at the time. I think she's at Keach nowadays. Bianca Lee. So it's Bianca that came and sort of started the Race for Life with us. And then obviously Sabine came along and Mary came along.
Sabine is amazing.
So a big shout out to them as well. We would be lost without them. And actually what they give us back as a school is phenomenal. And I think they're going to come in and see us really soon to thank us again for the massive amount of money. But it's crazy. And I think I'll be really honest when I say this. I truly believe there's no other school in the whole country that raise that amount of money on an annual basis.
I agree.
There's schools in the town that will do similar things and they'll raise money and it's all for the right reasons and, absolutely fantastic. But I always say to the girls in my assembly for Race for Life, I always say, there is categorically no other school in this country that can raise the amount of money that you girls have. And I tell them how proud I am. And,
it's more humbling because of the fact it's such
absolutely.
a disadvantaged area.
That is
and it's that.
To an area
where, that's what makes it so special. Like, what kind of media sort of attention have you got from what you guys have been doing? Have you had much?
We've had a little bit. I mean, not as much as what I feel like we should, to be honest, because, I think we try and shout from the rooftops as much as we can to sort of celebrate that with our school and community and everything. We've been in local newspapers. We've been on Inspire FM, have been fantastic covering things that we do. Absolutely. And, community-wise, there's a massive recognition in the community of what we do. I think this week there's been something from Cancer Research put into the Bedfordshire newspaper again, but it's about trying to get it a bit more national. But obviously, we've got contacts and bits and pieces, but it's difficult, isn't it? Because to get into the bigger newspapers and online newspapers is not simple.
Do you know what? Like, I've got a couple of people who on Twitter keep trying to like make me famous and stuff.
Yeah.
Like they keep adding Ryan Reynolds and stuff like that, trying to get him to like notice me.
Yeah. The original Deadpool.
I do not care. He's not Deadpool, by the way.
No, you're Deadpool.
When I meet him, because I will meet him, it's going to happen. Right?
Excellent.
I'm going to tell him to his face that he's not Deadpool. He's just an actor.
But you are.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And then I'm going to walk away. I'm not going to give him any time whatsoever. None whatsoever.
You're going to give him your autograph, not look for his autograph. That's how it should be, isn't it?
Yeah. But
it's brilliant.
The thing is, what I think we should all take note of and be really focused on is forget the world, right? You don't want attention from the world because it's not going to be genuine.
No.
Do you know what I mean? It will be because somebody is trying to make a name for themselves and they're using it. That's essentially what will happen. They'll use you guys as a way to make themselves more well known. For me, this is the only thing that matters, Luton.
Yeah, you're absolutely right.
That's the only thing that matters. Forget about national paper. Forget about them. Absolutely forget about them because they're not going to be genuine. And if they do help you, it will be one time.
Yeah,
so
absolutely
forget
right.
about them. The only thing that matters in the world is your community.
Yeah. To be fair, they do support everything that we do. We know how diverse Luton is as well.
Yeah.
And Luton, reputation-wise, it's always for the wrong reasons. Yeah. And I think when you can see things like this coming through from schools in Luton, from exam results in Luton, from progress that kids are making throughout their next career paths and stuff, Luton is a place to celebrate. And I think more and more when you see all like the community awards, the Love Luton, all of that coming through is trying to really lift this negative name that Luton has had for quite some time.
Yeah.
And I think like people like yourself are going to do massive difference, make a difference massively to that. Change mentality.
Like, look, I don't care for national fame, worldwide fame, nothing like that. Do you know what I care about? I want Luton to be the best place to live in the world.
Yeah.
I want it to be a place where art is born, where good times are had, where the football team is the best in the land.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? I just want Luton to do well. I don't care if I'm mentioned. I don't care if my name is anywhere. If this goes nowhere for me, and the only people that know who I am are people that are in Luton, and Luton is doing well, I've succeeded.
Absolutely.
That's the way I
set out to do what you wanted to do.
Exactly. And I think by focusing on that rather than, because this is the thing, like with people that do like a lot of social media stuff, they're so focused on followers.
Yeah.
I'll tell you this, I have no idea how many followers I have.
Wow.
I have no idea. I don't look. It's not
because it's not about that.
It's about, not worth it. Like, I'm going to start reducing people down to numbers eventually. Some people might just follow me and then they never look at my stuff.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like, what's even me? The only people that I really care for who follow me are people that want to do good as well.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And actually also see what you're doing and be a part of what you're doing.
Yeah. So,
and that's evident through all the stuff you do at Cambridge and everywhere.
It's evident with you as well and with yourself.
Thank you.
Because of what you guys are doing, I've got many people who have inspired me over time. You two have inspired me massively. Massively.
Thank you.
Because of your care for the next generation.
Yeah.
It's like it keeps reminding me why I'm doing it. Because I see people like yourself and it makes me go, it's working. Keep going.
Well, it definitely is working. And likewise, when you came into school that day, we were both massively inspired. I had the opportunity to speak to you, albeit very brief on the day, because you were too busy high-fiving everybody and dancing and singing and all of that. But actually, just, you telling me, I was intrigued by what made you do what you do.
Yeah.
And when you told me the sort of rationale behind it, that's exactly what Luton needs. Yeah. And that's exactly what the community needs. So it was really humbling that you sort of shared that with me on the day. And I think, you know, hats off to what you do, because it's all voluntary.
Yeah.
You do it for you don't make any money. And there's not very many people in the world that will do that kind of thing.
Yeah.
So, you know, what you're doing, your passion. Yeah.
Everything you say, you can see you're so passionate about making a difference and helping Luton. And I think the job that you do is just fantastic.
Well, thank you so much. That's really, really sweet of you guys to say. I really appreciate that.
It's been a privilege to meet you finally as well.
Oh, don't! I feel privileged to meet you guys.
But so you've been like everywhere you've been sort of since COVID and stuff. You know, Luton's Deadpool pops up and you kind of go, I wonder who that is. And then actually when Sabine said, oh, and Deadpool's coming to your Race for Life, I was like, you're kidding me. Oh my God, I'm going to meet Deadpool. So, you know, you think the kids are excited. Behind the scenes, it was two adults that were like sort of going, is he here yet? Is he here yet? But it really is a privilege to meet you. And hopefully we can, you know, do some more work together in the future and stuff as well.
We'll talk about some stuff.
Yeah, absolutely.
We'll talk about some stuff because I've got a couple of ideas.
Excellent. Fantastic.
Yeah. All right. Well, I think it's good to end there.
Thank you. It's been a pleasure.
A lovely time. Thank you so much. Thank you, Miss Dolan. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Deadpool.
Thank you for listening or watching, whatever you're doing. I love you, Luton. Take care. And that's a wrap.
Thank you.
It is still kind of recording, and I keep this in as well. Sorry to the people for like the phone ending just there.